Hello everyone, this is Ross again, back with another video, and today we have an unboxing video of a item that I purchased on a website over in Alabama about a couple weeks ago, and this was supposed to get in here about a week ago, but it got delayed for the snowstorms and all that stuff, I guess. But after the long wait, I am here unboxing it. This is the Dakota, Minnesota and Eastern 6362 City of Lamberton. It is an SD40-2 from Athearn. This was one of the 4 SD30-2s that Athearn released back in 2013. 3 of them were DME numbers and one of them was Burlington Northern. And I actually have 6361 right here, City of Redfield. I went to Spring Creek Model Trains in Deschler, Nebraska about a week ago and bought this one, and I saw that 6362 is also there, so if you want to purchase 6362, there is still one of these available at Spring Creek Model Trains in Deschler, Nebraska. Now this MSRP is at about $135 when it got released, but now it's been pushed down to about $110 everywhere I can find it. This was a very hard thing to find, so I am excited to open this up and show you what it looks like, and I'll also do a demonstration on how to install DCC in this. It has quick plug equipped. I'll also show how to lubricate it because these things came in pretty dry when you got them. So without further ado, we will start unboxing. Okay, we got all these plastic pellets here and whatnot. I'm going to try to keep them in the box here. Okay, and here is the locomotive itself in bubble wrap. And we got a little bit of bubble wrap to cut off. As you can see, this is from High Country Hobbies, located in Enterprise, Alabama. Here's their business card. I'll throw that in, and we'll remove the box here. And here is the Athearn DME 6362 City of Lamberton. And this is what the box looks like that it comes in. Nothing super special, just normal stuff. The Athearn seal of approval sticker, which has pretty easy to remove, and as you can see, already kind of broken up and all that. And this says DCC quick plug equipped here. Yeah, here is the side. That's what it originally was priced as. It's kind of blurry to see. I can't really focus this camera. But it says Dakota, Minnesota and Eastern SD40-2 6362. I apologize for saying SD30-2 earlier. My mind was kind of doing weird things. So here we're going to unbox it. And this is how you remove it. It has a normal sleeve, the package sleeve. It comes with an exploded parts diagram here of the locomotive, and the standard Athearn business card. So we got that. Now we'll remove it from the sleeve here. Alright. Now this is kind of a messy sleeve, so there's that. In the upper part we have some parts that are actually, you have to cut them out with a box cutter and glue them on. I didn't do that with the other one because they're just too hard to mess with. So didn't do that. And here's the locomotive. We will take these foam pieces off here. And here's the locomotive, 6362. Yeah, I really do apologize for the blurriness. I'm not sure how to fix that because my camera does not have autofocus. This one does not. And it's got the old 96 DME paint scheme. This one, actually, they did update the paint scheme on this one, but they never took care of it, so it always looked really bad. It's standard stuff for, you know, ready to run. No windshield wipers, no pattern on the walkways. It's just standard. There's the individually placed grab irons and some good detail along the top, I think. The side bell. The only problem I have with it is it doesn't have windows, even though, well, on the sides, even though in the pictures it shows it having some windows. So that's a little bit disappointing, but that's alright. There's no cab interior. Obviously for a ready to run you're not going to see that very often. Looks like some of the handrails are popping out a little bit, so let me see if I can fix that. There we go. Not super sturdy handrails, they're pretty flexible, but you know, that's alright. Just don't touch them. No sunshades, that's okay. Now I'll show you how you get access to the quick plug. You can actually remove this part on the SD40-2s from Athearn. It's on there kind of tight at first. And there is the plug. And these are all the headlight wires. What I generally do is I just kind of break them off of there. And then, yeah, you got your main circuit board here, which appears to be crooked on this one, so I might have to open this shell up and fix it once. But, yeah, here is the quick plug with the DC runner board in it. And what we're going to be installing in it today is this Digitrax DH126D. It's pretty much the simplest decoder you got for, you know, just DCC purposes. And these are actually on snug pretty tight, so you generally need a screwdriver to work it off. Generally one of these works, and then you shove it in a little gap here on both sides and work it off, and then you plug in your decoder. But they are on pretty tight, so you just gotta be patient and work at it carefully. Yeah, that little grab keeps popping off. Yeah, let's see if I can bend the circuit board. Not bend, but push it back into place. Doesn't look like it, so I'll have to open the shell up and fix that, but I'll do that when I get to oiling it. For now, we're just gonna remove this quick plug, and we'll go from there. So, I think I'm going to remove it off camera because it's extremely hard to get off most of the time, and I need two hands for it, and I need a better angle. So I'll see you guys when I get it off of the locomotive and get the decoder on there, and then I'll show you some further instructions on lubrication and whatever else you need to run with this thing. So yeah, see you in a little bit. Alright, I've got the decoder installed into the locomotive, and keep in mind, if your screwdriver slips and accidentally scratches the circuit board, that's alright. It happens sometimes. I'm only saying this because I accidentally did that, and it's alright, because I've learned that actually it's alright as long as it doesn't scrape too deep. But usually with a screwdriver scrape, it's not going to go that deep, so don't worry about it. Anyways, I have the truck power on. I will show you how it works with DCC. I'll turn on the front light. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but here you go. Now the front light's on. I'll move forward and backward. I don't know if you can see that, but it has directional lighting as well. So if you look closely here, I'll move it to where you should be able to see it come on. Now watch the backlight. Now you can see the backlight's on. and it is directional. And these locomotives are actually kind of loud, which is unfortunate, but it's just kind of how they were made. Another thing to help with this is lubrication. And one problem I have with both of them is they both heat up really quick. I don't know if there's a way to fix that, but they get really, really hot. And I think it's just from the compaction of the shell, because there's not a whole lot of space for ventilation in here because everything's so compressed together. But anyways, I will now show you how to lubricate this locomotive, what you'll need, and all that good stuff. Okay, now that we've unboxed the locomotive, gone over a few things about it, installed the DCC decoder to the quick plug, it is time to show how to lubricate this locomotive. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is this piece here that pops off, never grab the locomotive by this piece, because obviously it's going to slide right off and your locomotive is going to go tumbling on the ground, which nobody wants. But another reason is, well, these two are kind of snug right now, but earlier when I got this was extremely loose, and the wires were actually pushing up on it, and it would kind of pop up a bit, and I kept having to push it down. I don't know why it's snug right now, but I'm just not going to mess with it. But basically what you could do is you could glue it down a little bit. Once you have everything all sorted out, then it won't pop up at all, and that's what I'm going to do to both of these once I get them figured out, and if they come loose again, I will do that. So now what you're going to need is you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, and that's about it. You're also going to need your oil. I use this Labelle 107 synthetic oil. It's multi-purpose, but you can find it at your local hobby shops and train stores, all that good stuff. So now you're going to flip the locomotive over, and what you got to do is you got to take the coupler boxes out, because they hold the shell onto the frame. So basically you're just going to unscrew it until they pop out, and sometimes the screws don't want to come out right at the end, so you kind of have to shake it around and try to lift the shell off, and then you can kind of wiggle them loose, because things are kind of tight sometimes. Sometimes this takes a while, so if this takes a little too long, I may fast forward. I definitely have difficulty with these, I must say. It's almost there. Yeah, sometimes, there we go, popped right out. You also want to be careful on that, because you can ruin that inclined plane, but it's the best you can do, I guess. So now you just simply slide the coupler box out, and there goes that. These are also Mchenry couplers, which I know these are plastic, but I really like these because they're brown, like old, kind of old and weathered, I guess, I don't know. And they're kind of the most realistic I can find, I guess. Even though they break, but don't worry, I got plenty of extra Mchenry couplers just in case that happens. Alright, now we are going to, yeah, I'm going to have to glue these handrails in. But, now we'll unscrew this one. The back one is actually the trickier one, I think, especially with, well, I've learned with 6361 over there, it's pretty tricky, I guess. So, doesn't want to come out for most of the time. Okay, now I got this out. Yeah, the back one definitely holds everything down. I think it just depends on whichever one you bring out first, too. Alright. Now you gotta be very careful. I actually accidentally popped the headlights out of 6361, so I gotta set this on the ground, actually. So there we go. And the circuit board fixed itself before I got a chance to get to it. And I'm glad it still works with the it just has one minor scratch on it. I was worried it might not conduct power, but it works just fine. And I looked it up, and it shouldn't affect it at all unless it really gets in there. Okay, so now what you want to do is basically you want to lubricate the shafts and the worm gear. Now on this locomotive design there isn't any access to the worm gear, so I just lubricate the shafts. And basically the key places you want to lubricate these shafts are, you want to lubricate it right here where the shaft joins the truck, right in there. There's a little gap there. You want to do the same for the back one. And sorry it's hard to see, but just picture it with me here. You also want to do it inside the motor shaft. So you see this part and that black piece there, there's a gap there, and there's also a gap over here. And you don't need a whole lot of lubrication, just a few drops will do it. So here I'll try to lubricate it. There we go, that's lubricated. There we go. These are kind of tough to get at sometimes. Okay, there we go. Now what I tend to do is I kind of spin this a little bit to kind of get it worked in there. Sometimes it'll fly out the back, so that's unfortunate. I work it in there, then I put in a few more drops just to be safe. But you don't want to over lubricate, that's a key point. Okay, and spin it a little more, get it worked in there. And there you go, that is how you lubricate this locomotive. This style, if you have a 2013 Athearn SD40-2, I'm not sure what the modern ones look like. Well, the more modern ones, I guess, because I don't have any. These are the only two Athearn SD40-2s I have. I only have another SD40-2, which is a Bowser, and then I got a Atlas GP40. And that's all I have right now, but I'm working up my rolling stock. Now what I do is I put it back, I put the shell back on, but I work it down so these headlight wires are on top of the decoder. So I kind of get a screwdriver, kind of pull them up. Make sure they're all above the decoder itself, and that can be kind of tricky sometimes. Yeah, see, I got one that's didn't come up. So there you go. There we go. We got all of the wires above the decoder. Now make sure everything's straight and pop the locomotive shell back onto the frame. Gotta make sure this is straight. And then just kind of lay the wires on top of it. and pop that back on. Whoops, wrong way. There we go. And that is how you lubricate the locomotive. I'm going to get the coupler boxes back on, and then I'll be right back and we'll run some freight behind 6361 and 6362, and we'll see how they look together and sound as well. So, see you in a little bit.